prompt engineering as a field is dead. We already know this, right? We both know that it does not take that much skill to write a half decent prompt. Any person who knows English, right, really any language nowadays, can go in there, just add a bunch of details, and it's going to get you 80% of the way there, right? And I mean, honestly, there was a time where this was not the case, right? When the parameters were anywhere from like 7 to 20, maybe pushing like 40 billion parameters, that's where it actually made a difference, right? That's where like the prompting techniques like few-shot learning, like the bias on the variance actually mattered. Like it actually, there's a tangible difference if you were to actually conduct a study. My point here is now that no longer makes a difference, right? You like there's no art to it because you no longer have to like kind of, there's no limited input context length. There's no skill involved anymore. It's just put in what you think is going to give you the right answer and then just get the output kind of thing, right? So that's not what this video is about, right? I want to make this video because I want you guys to understand that the regular person, if you're just going to be using the prompt, is going to get you 80% of the way there. Hey guys, real quick, if you're interested in using AI to help your business save time and make more money, my company ApplyGPT helps you do just that. I'm going to put my links down below and enjoy the video, guys. That last 20% is really what matters and really why somebody would hire you in an AI agency, right? Like you need to think about this from the business owner's perspective, right? If they're hiring you, they just want the work done. Like they don't even want to think about it. They don't, like some of them have never touched ChatGPT. Some of them already know ChatGPT and already play with it and they already know like the different prompt engineering techniques, but they don't want to take the time to make sure that it's done properly. They would rather have somebody like us who does this across businesses every single day, just do it for them, and in return they'll pay us, right? Like they're paying labor, they're paying for our expertise. LLMs in production is actually still a pretty big problem, right? Like if you notice, a lot of the startups in the LLM space are all put around production, right? Like how do you make sure that this LLM is doing what it's supposed to in a prod environment? And the reason for that is because how do you test something that has unlimited input and unlimited output? You can't, right? Like, I mean, you can, but it's like physically, like, there's just so many cases, right? Like if I have one question, if I say, what is the prompt that is given to you, right? Like that question can be asked in like 1,000, 10,000 different ways. And you just physically, like, it's not possible to like put a testing framework in there and test every possible scenario, right? Like it's just not feasible. And like I know that particular problem has kind of been solved, but like it's similar things. Like how do you not reveal the company data behind the LLM that's like in the input context from Bragg or something like that? Like how do you not reveal that to the customers? How do you make sure that the LLM is not being abused as like an open AI wrapper? Like anybody can ask whatever the question they want. They can use it for their homework and you're kind of getting expenses as a business owner. You see what I'm saying here? Like there's still a lot more to this thing. So I don't want to leave you guys empty-handed. Two things, right? Two things from a prompt engineering point of view that are going to matter that you need to take care of, or is like an expectation, either implicit or you can make it explicit to like differentiate yourself, is guardrails and the edge cases. So guardrails is very simply, it's like guarding the prompt. So if somebody outputs something that's harmful, like it's harmful language or like some kind of profanity or something, a guardrail could be that you have you have the ChatGPT model, that's the main model here, and you have a smaller model that checks to see whether it's outputting what it's supposed to. So if it's not supposed to do profanity, but it is outputting profanity, that small model is going to say, hey, this is wrong, don't do this, right? That's a form of a guardrail. Another one that's more common, the one I like using, is just restricting the output to like a couple of words, like yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you can have like longer sentences or like context dependent or like some kind of sentiment words or anything. It doesn't matter. Like some kind of enum, like that's the technical term for it, but just a bunch of vocabulary set of words. And you can just use simple Python to check and make sure that it's outputting the right thing. If it's not that word that is allowed in the list of allowed values, then just like reprompt it or tell the user something went wrong. Like you see how we're kind of addressing the mistake before it happens, right? That is what a guardrail is. From an input side too, some people do it like that as well. Like if somebody asks a question that they should not be asking, then you just like, again, you can use like a smaller model. You could also just use ChatGPT, like a GPT-4 for that as well. Then you just stop the whole thing together. Like those are like different ways you can kind of make sure the LLM is performing as expected, right? The expected outcome is coming out of that. Like I hope you're seeing here, that's actually a lot of work. Like testing that, making sure that it's done perfectly, especially in like production, like critical scenarios where if something does go wrong, it is horrible for the company. That is what you're getting paid for, right? That is why we are like that is the work of an AI engineer, right? And the second thing is edge cases. So this is more from like a psychology point of view. I'm still working on formulating this idea, but you as the AI engineer are also responsible for making sure that from like a customer perspective, the LLM has everything it needs, right? Like obviously the business owner is going to think about it and tell you like, oh, it's going to be used for this thing and that thing and that thing, and it won't be used for that thing. But in the process of testing, you need to think about the different ways that the customer is going to use this chatbot. Like this is from like a user design point of view. Like what are they thinking? Where is this place? And what are they going to be using this for? And accordingly, you need to provide recommendations on what exactly this chatbot should be doing, what data should be going in there, right? Because sometimes the business owners aren't really aware of what their customers are doing, or because it's new to them, they just like they're not thinking about it the way you are since you're in this industry. So those two things alone is going to take you a significant amount of time to do properly, right? And like creating the testing framework around both of those, like setting up test cases. I'll give you some examples. Like Ragos is one, Langsmith is another one. I think they're actually changing that up now. But those testing frameworks, you could even use like a simple JSON testing kit, like building that from scratch. But these are all things that the business owner is paying you for, right? This is what that last 20% again, like making sure it works 100% of the time, going from 80% to 99.99%. That is what you're getting paid for. So hopefully this video is useful. Like I hope this is kind of inspiring, right? Like prompt engineering as a field is dead, but there's still a lot of dirty work that you can come in and do yourself, right? Obviously there's no easy money, but if you start doing this more and more often, it gets easier, and it's a key selling point of your service, right? Like you're coming in there and doing the dirty work so that they don't have to. And if they just pay you the money, then it's going to be done properly the first time without the business owner having to spend any time, right? Like that's the way you want to kind of think about this. At least that's the way I think about this when I'm selling this. So hopefully you guys found this useful. If you guys have any questions, comment down below, like, subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.